Uganda is one of 5 countries that form the East African bloc. It is bordered by Kenya to the east, Tanzania to the south, Rwanda to the southwest, DRC to the west, and Southern Sudan to the north. It's crossed by the equator and thus enjoys pleasant climatic conditions all year round.
The Jane Goodall Institute was founded in 1997 by Dr. Jane Goodall, a primatologist and conservationist. It now has grown since then to spread across 27 countries worldwide, and one of their offices is here in Uganda. The Uganda office was opened in 1991, but we didn't become active until 1997. The first years, from 91 to 97, we were primarily focusing on understanding the landscape within Uganda.
Our interest was to establish a corridor connectivity between one forest block called Bugoma to another forest big block called Wambabia Central Forest Reserves. These forest reserves are also linked to another bigger forest block in the north called Budongo Central Forest Reserve. The project was looking at rehabilitating a corridor that used to exist between Bugoma and Wambabia Central Forest Reserves that was earlier depleted by the populations around it, to allow the chimps in Wambabia Central Forest to be able to move and interact with the chimps in Bugoma Central Forest Reserve to avoid inbreeding. In 2010, when we went to start up with the project, we realized the number of challenges. The first challenge was on attitude of wildlife, attitude to wildlife by the communities. Because of the various challenges they had faced with vermins in the area, they thought that the project was mainly going to bring them more trouble with vermins, because we were looking at rehabilitation of the existing forests and creating a corridor between the two forest blocks, and which corridor goes through homesteads. Homesteads are just adjacent to that corridor. And they thought that having the corridor regenerated would cause more animals to come closer to them, to destroy their crops and other property they own. So that was one of the challenges. Attitude was so negative.
The Jane Goodall Institute started working in 1977 and has been working tirelessly to respect, nourish, and protect all living things and development program partners to create sustainable livelihoods. Hoima district is located in the western part of Uganda, and it holds a population of over 408,000 people. It is also one of the places where the Sustainable Livelihood project is already underway, and members from various communities have to go through various kinds of training sponsored by the Jane Goodall Institute, Austria and Canada, Haifa International and the Canadian International Development Agency. The first stop is Chigaga Village in Buseruka Sub-County, Hoima District, where Mr. Samuel Byarugaba, a husband and father of 8, stays. He is one of the beneficiaries from the Sustainable Livelihood project.
Myaka ibiri jengo buruwirema amagezi go kubasa kuhenga ubusiri buce bwo kuyamba family hamwe no kutonga amakasente no kulia hamwe twayiga byinji no kubasa kurebera bitungwa byete bitwine.
Samuel says he was ignorant about the farming and that he and his family had to depend on the wild vegetables just to make ends meet. Now 2 years into the project, he has managed to acquire knowledge as well as capital in the form of crops such as banana suckers and pineapple suckers from the Austrian fan. Is now carrying out subsistence farming and animal husbandry. In the same village, under the Sustainable Livelihood project, a spring well is to be constructed with funds from the Netherlands Embassy to to help aid about 300 members of the community from 75 families. As the team from JGI Austria continues to traverse the different parts of Hoima district, they decide to go to the nearby village Inyakasinina village in the same sub-county and parish as Samuel's. 30-year-old Robert, also husband and a father of 4, has managed to transform his life through the project.
I joined this project 2011, so it has helped me a lot.
Robert, who was initially growing soil-exhausting tobacco and rice, which was less lucrative and difficult to plan due to the unpredictable seasonal weather, now boasts of having managed to harvest at least 300 pineapples last season.
When I joined this group, they helped me through trainings and what I had to leave growing tobacco and rice. I turned to this one, but as per now, as I can see, I've achieved a lot because I've started earning from pineapples, and I've started other projects. This pineapple I sold, I bought pigs, so that's how we are trying to go with the project. But I like the project and I'm still working with the project.
Establishing bee and piggery farming projects, and also sending 2 of his children to boarding school. Robert is also one of the beneficiaries from the training under the Sustainable Livelihood project, and he's now growing pineapples, cassava, bananas that are soil-friendly as well as lucrative.
It is not easy, but we try to get some little money. We put other workers here to help us. Although it is expensive, but we negotiate sometimes on a loan basis. Then we pay them if we get money.
The following day, it's a more captivating journey for the team from JGI as they visit the home and farm of Joram Basima in Chigaga village. Joram, a husband and father of 15, is also the chairman of Kabale District Development Association.
In this project, I'm the chairman of Kidoma Kabale Community Development Association,
a local community-based organization that aims at the restoration of regional forests and waterways, education and sensitization of community members, as well as looking after the livelihood of the people and the conservation of the environment.
When the researchers from JGI, the WWF came in, I was actually reached and I was close to them. So then I had to begin learning from them and trying to put into practice whatever I was advised. You can see now that we are seated on top of this spring. Before 2009, I was a tobacco cultivator. The whole of this place you are looking at was tobacco. Tobacco at that time, because of lack of income in the community, was the only way we could do to earn us income. So I had to clear the whole of this place, and the neighbors cleared the whole of that place, and this source of water had to dry off. It was off for 3 years. 2009, 2010, 2008 it was off. 2008, 2011, early 2011, it was off. But as I told you, that by 2009, when the JGI researchers came in and the WWF, they advised me to plant some trees around here and at least let some other trees to regenerate. I was so inquisitive. I had even to go, I had went as far as to the sub-county, to the district, calling for assistance such that they could come and rework it on, thinking that it was maybe the shoulder work done by the contractors. It was a proof to us that with the vegetation cover along the water source, water must always be in place. So it is the biggest achievement in my life, the biggest achievement in my home, the biggest achievement in my community, that we now have water full time. The Sustainable Project, working with us, implementing its activities with us, the members of Chikapoda, we are mainly targeting at a number of 3 items. One, we are looking at restoration of the regional forests and waterways. Secondly, we are looking at education and income, with a number of objectives per our constitution.
Joram, who joined the project in 2009, has acquired 4 beehives as part of the project and since then have expanded to 18 hives. Joram also harvests at least 2 acres of coffee every year from the seedlings he got. He manages to raise on average 2 million shillings annually.
I now have 1 acre of coffee, and this one is for annual income. From this 1 acre of coffee, I have harvested only twice. For the first production, I was able to sell 1.2 million.
Joram also has enough food for his large family to depend on, and from the 4 goats he got from the project, he manages to sell at least 15 to 20 goats annually. He has also bought 2 pigs from what he earns every year.
You see, with coffee we don't eat. We don't eat part of it. With bananas, bananas are mainly meant for home consumption. We eat bananas all the time. Every banana that is ready, that one is food for the family. So with that, I can't calculate properly, but you can also imagine. Then with goats, with those local goats, as I earlier on told you, that before JGI and HPI came in, I had actually benefited from the NADS program. I had my 10 goats, so they were crossed. But it has been my ongoing with this project of the goats. At least every year, I have to sell 15 to 20 goats.
It's not an easy trek from the corners of Joram's large farm, but it's a breathtaking experience that can be noticed even on the faces JGI members from Austria. Farther afield, the team from JGI Austria continues to tour the terrain of Hoima for hours, witnessing the landscape and the many agricultural sites that nature has to show. The team goes through Wambabia's Central Forest Reserve that occupies 2,980 hectares. In the heart of the forest, a local community group has established collaborative forest management under the Wambabia Forest Conservation and Development Association. It's here that Felix and the team from JGI will participate in organizing tree nursery beds Plants and also water some of the young trees. Engaging in such acts with the community members is a show of respect, dedication, and teamwork. It's been 2 days of visiting almost every remote corner and village in Hoima district. Felix and the group from the Jane Goodall Institute, Austria, are exhausted, but they testify that these last couple of days have indeed opened their eyes to face reality, thus showing them how simple acts of selflessness do change people's life tremendously.
They came in our village and they called us to go and meet them at the one church there. When I reached there, I found there people from Kampala. They told us about the project that they are giving us goats, pigs.
For the residents of Hoima, it is a breath of fresh air and encouragement to see new and friendly faces in the environment.
It has really helped me, like they took us in a tour. When I reached there, I learned from others what they were doing. They might come at my home. They gave us seedlings. I planted beans with nuts. That's all. And actually, knowledge. They are giving us knowledge.
The 3-year-old Sustainable Livelihood project that these people have been inspecting has also managed to transform the lives of at least 700 households in Hoima district.
I was interested in the project. I started clearing my home. They said that they want people who have latrine, good home with the katandaro, the drying rake, and we put water at the latrine to use when you are coming from the latrine. You wash your hands. Then afterwards they come and they come at my place. They said that I will get a goat. The time came, they give me a goat. Now it gave birth. With first birth, the goat died. The second time, it produced the two, the he and the she. And now they are old. The goat, it is now conceived another what?
With more funding from the Jane Goodall Institute in Austria and Canada, and with collaborative efforts from Hoima International, the Canadian International Development Agency, and the Netherlands Embassy in Uganda, there is still more hope that people's lives will continue to be transformed, while the environment is also being protected at the same time.
When Jane Goodall asked me to get honorary ambassador of the Jane Goodall Institute of Austria, and we were working together for more than 2 years now, and it's really perhaps the most sensible thing I ever have done, because Jane was studying the animals, especially the chimpanzee, and was learning out of the chimpanzee that human being, the nature, and the animals is one big.
JGI's vision is of a world in which all people realize their full potential in societies that respect nature and human rights.
One big community, and one species does not exist without the others. And when I was working with the Jane Goodall Institute Austria, we had the plan half year ago to visit you in Uganda and join the projects, what Jane Goodall Institute and the Roots and Shoots program does, because it's always important to feel it. It's not enough just to know about it. It's interesting, like today, when you can work with all the people and learning how it's sensible to plant trees, for example, or to visit the farmers to build up real little farms to be able to live out of it.
We get involved in activities that improve people's livelihoods, because we know that one of the factors that drives environmental degradation is poverty. And so we try to look at people's welfare, people's livelihoods, and see how we can improve their livelihoods so that they don't exert so much stress or so much pressure on natural habitats.